Hey everybody, welcome into Warp Factor 10, our show about all things Star Trek here on the Arena Productions. And we got the final episode of season 4 titled Old Friends, New Planets. So this is going to be our recap and review. But just want to let you know that there's going to be spoilers throughout this episode. So if you have not watched the final episode of season 4 of Star Trek Lower Decks, please go and check it out over on Paramount Plus and then come back and enjoy this video. So there are going to be spoilers throughout, so this is your spoiler warning. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into the episode. So we start the episode with Nick Locarno and Nova Squadron, in animated form. So from the Star Trek The Next Generation series, season 5, the episode titled The First Duty. So we get them on the campus of Starfleet Academy, and then we get a young Beckett running up to her best friend Sito. Of course, Mariner is a freshman at this time, and it's like 13 years in the past. So we see them together there. Mariner with Nova Squadron, and then it's cool. We get Wesley, so the voice of course Will Wheaton. So then we jump back to the present, and it seems like Locarno has created this called Nova Fleet, and he's basically trying to recruit those who are disgruntled with their command and disgruntled with how their situation is, whether it's Starfleet or in the Klingon Empire, whatnot. So, yeah, it's funny how when he puts the message out on the comms, it's funny how Rutherford, he's like saying that Locarno, he looks like Tom Paris. And the Boimler saying, I don't see it. And he mentions it again later on. I thought that was pretty funny. But all these ships throughout the season that have been abducted, basically they're being now a part of a new independent and unaligned fleet. And it was funny how Boimler was saying, the Maquis should, they would like a word. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. And then you get Locarno describing this new system, the Detrion system, and it's protected by a Trinar shield. And this shield reminds me of one of the original series shields that, of course, the Enterprise could not penetrate. So, this episode also revolves around Tendi as well, because Tendi has to go and try to get help from the Orions and from her sister. And so we see that. We see the conflict between the sister and Tendi, and it's interesting how they're able to get that big destroyer, the Orion destroyer, to try to help, but in exchange, Tendi would have to go back to her sister. So we get that, and there were like Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan vibes throughout the episode, especially when Mariner's going through that storm, the ion storm. It was like a level 7 ion storm, and then when Paris goes in there and chases her, it's just like in the Wrath of Khan, Star Trek 2, where they're going through that nebula, and then the comms, they couldn't see each other, and so they're flying by. I was waiting for one of them to say evasive starboard. But anyway, and then you have the Genesis device, this black market Ferengi Genesis device that Locarno was using to try to get his way, and of course Mariner takes it away at the beginning of the episode, and as she's flying through there, she's got it strapped to a chair, and then she at the end there, it's funny how she activates it, and then the conversation between her and Locarno, and we get the back and forth about Nova Squadron, and he was expelled from the academy, and his his anger at that, and then him bringing up Sito, and that she had basically died for nothing, and Mariner, got angry with him and said that she stood up for what she believed in. Yes, Starfleet has its faults and it has its problems, but she, of course, believes in the mission and believes in what Starfleet stands for, and that's basically what this whole season was all about, especially with Mariner. And so then towards the end of the episode, obviously they're able to crash that big Orion destroyer into the Tynar shield, and are able to get a breakthrough there to get in and to save Mariner. But then, of course, as Locarno is left behind and he's trying to deactivate the Black Market Genesis device, it's funny how the message comes up, 2 bars of latinum, to be able to deactivate it. That was so funny. And then it explodes and it creates the new planet. And so I guess at the end, and Captain Freeman said it too, that Locarno, he did good after all when it came to this planet being created, and they're calling it the planet Locarno, and they're going to be able to, the Starfleet's going to be able to send refugees there in the future. But then at the end of the episode, of course, we get Mariner apologizing for all the things that she's been doing throughout the season, taking out her anger on them as well. So I really like that part. But then Tendi, she has to go back to her sister. That was the part of the bargain. And she says at the end, I've got this. And so we leave on kind of a minor cliffhanger there. So, what is going to happen between Tendi, and her sister in season 5? That's going to be interesting to see, and how long it's going to be before she can go back to the Cerritos. And we saw that little tender moment there between Tendi and Rutherford as she was leaving. She gives him a big hug and all. But yeah, it was really interesting. It was a cool end to the season. Robert Duncan McNeil voicing Locarno. That was really cool. And Will Wheaton having a little special guest appearance there. But all in all, very, very, when the Genesis device exploded, you get the vibes of Star Trek 3 and all. I thought that was really cool. So, and then of course the Wrath of Khan and all the music, from Wrath of Khan and from Star Trek 3. So that was really, really awesome. So a great end to the season, and questions that remain for the beginning of season 5 that we get to talk about. But let us know in the comments what you thought of the season. I thought it was really, really great, and I really enjoyed the final episode of the season. But anyway, let us know what you thought of it. And all I can say is lower decks, lower decks, lower decks. Really excited for season 5 when it comes out next year. So anyway, I've been your host, Expat, and this has been another recap and review episode of Star Trek Lower Decks on Warp Factor 10, our show about all things Star Trek here on the Arena Productions. And so we hope to catch you in the next Star Trek series that we do for recap and reviews. Of course, we got the final season of Discovery coming soon, so we're going to be doing recap and review episodes of that. And then, of course, when Lower Decks comes back for season 5 next year, and then Star Trek Strange New Worlds, hopefully we'll be able to get it next year. It depends on if the actor strike ends soon. So, but we'll be bringing it to you when they come. So anyway, live long and prosper, and have a great year watching Star Trek. So take care, everyone. Peace out.